Hi class. This week we were told to do an informative speech. And when we're doing informative speech, it has to be something that we have a lot of knowledge about on this topic. So this week I chose to do my informative speech on suicide prevention in the military. This is something that I do have a lot of knowledge about, and it's something that I do talk about at least once a month. I am the suicide prevention manager within my brigade. I teach 4 different classes on a regular basis about suicide prevention. The classes are ASSIST, which is known as Applied Skilled Suicide Intervention Training. ACE, which is Ask Care Escort. I know anybody in the military have their little ACE cards. And I also do ACESI, which is Ask Care Escort Suicide Intervention. And it's more of an in-depth role, and it's mainly geared towards leaders. And another one I teach is Safe Talk. Safe Talk is something new. It's a new program that we're getting into and doing within the military. I know it's probably been around for a while, but I know the military is just starting to get into it and teaching it and putting it onto the DTMS tracker. And that is geared to more towards the younger soldiers. We do have so many younger soldiers who don't know too much about suicide, even though they might be having suicidal thoughts. They're not comfortable of sharing their feelings and thoughts towards people, and they're also not, too sure on how to respond if someone comes to them having suicidal thoughts. So that's something that we doing, and it's like more of an open forum, just talking about it. How do you feel about it? Even though in all the courses that I do teach, we do talk about how certain people feelings on it. Safe Talk is like a 4-hour course that we just kind of get to them, and we just talk just about those and how to react. Assist is a more in-depth and intensive course, and that's a 2-day course, and that's really something where it's just we do role playing, and also we do different feelings, how people feel. We do have people who bump heads a lot in that course, but that's something that assists something that's like more of an eye opener on how to deal with suicide. ACE is a 90-minute course, and ACESI is a 4-hour course. And that's just something that I know that we teach. I know within my brigade, and we try to teach different courses because I know suicide is a huge thing within the military. The 4 uh, sites that I will be quoting from is my ASSIST training manual, my ACE and ACESI training manual, Military Times, and Stars and Stripes, which is a military publication. So, according to Military Times, 2015 assist rate within the Army has dropped down tremendously, especially since 2013. 2013 was a really high peak of suicide that's been reported. I know 2012 we had 176, and I know 2013 186, and that's just what that was reported. Note that since just because it was reported doesn't mean that's all suicides that happen, because there's some suicides that just wasn't reported as suicides, it's been reported as a different cause. So, and then some that just haven't been reported at all, especially in the military. We do not have a lot of things that have been, just reported. And that's just active duty. That's not reserves. That's not counting reserve personnel. That's not counting National Guard. That's not counting, and that's especially not counting veterans. And that's something that people have to understand too. We have veterans, the people that just got out, who thought of, who committed suicide, and that number right there is just counting only active duty personnels that have been reported. 2015 we had 86. According to the Times, we had 86 that has been reported. So the number kind of went down. We have over 900 programs that go towards suicide prevention, and that's something that is good, and hopefully that we're working towards doing that. I know according to Stars and Stripes, I know our Sergeant Major Army, I know he says that he, even though we might not eliminate suicide altogether, hopefully we're using these programs to hopefully, reduce it. And that's something that we really are doing. We are really reducing suicide with the rates and numbers that's out been reported, which is very good. And also we do have better reporting systems than we had in 2013 to make sure that certain stuff get reported, and the whole investigation process is better than what it was. I know in my ASSIST manual, I know that's something that they tell us also, ASSIST and ACE, is very important to kind of watch soldiers in the holiday season, thing like Thanksgiving, November, well, actually October to January time frame. That's something where we kind of closely watch soldiers on making sure that they're not think about suicide, because that's around the holiday time frame. People want to go home. People not able to go home. They might not have the much money to sit here and get stuff they want for Christmas or do what they want to do. So that's something we kind of watch out for. Even though people commit suicide for different reasons, and they can in any season. But I know that is the most important time that's critical, that we really have that watch out for soldiers. Another thing that is taught is to kind of make sure that you kind of watch your soldiers, especially, and know your soldiers. They're going through different situations, and know your friends, because there's so many risk factors and risk factors that go along. A risk factor could be divorce, financial issues, Article 15s, UMCMJs, that goes along. So you have people who going through that. You kind of want to check on them and kind of know they have different signs. It change up, and that's called warning signs. So if they change that, they act different, they don't act like how they used to be, they getting rid of their stuff. That could be like a warning sign that you want to watch out for and kind of engage that person. Another thing that we teach is, knowing your friends, your soldiers, family members, and knowing their protective factors. Because if they have that protective factor and you're thinking about suicide, one thing that can help is helping them get back to that protective factor, which is just be church, just hanging out with family, going out. That's something that is important that we do talk about, especially in all 4 of these courses that I do teach. Another thing that is important to know about, and we always want to make sure soldiers know about, is the stigma. We have so many soldiers who do not want to come out and talk, or don't want to come talk about suicide, don't want to tell people their feelings, go behavioral health or MFLAG, or even to the chaplain office to talk about suicide, because it's a stigma. People think, oh, well, if I'm having suicidal thoughts, then people gonna think I'm weak. It's gonna ruin my career. People not gonna want to talk to me. People going, they gonna think different things about me. And that's something that we are really trying to harp on is, if you have suicidal thoughts or you think about suicide, do not be afraid to tell anyone, because that could be something that can help you, instead of you being afraid on, what other people are going to think about you. And that's something that in the Army, especially in the Army, that I know of just from my experience, that is, it's hard, because people do not want to talk or don't want to bring it out to people. I know I had several people who came to me and just talking about, just saying they have suicidal thoughts. With me, with my job, if they come to me, it's confidential, and I do my best to help them through that, and I try to get them to talk to other people, but they don't want to talk to their chain of command or anything else like that, because they feel that if they talk to them, then they're gonna think they're weak, or their position in their workplace is gonna be lowered. So that's something that I try to make sure they talk to them, and try to get them to talk to those personnel. And even though I'm confidential, and what I can't sit here and tell, their commanders or whatever, how they feel, what they're thinking about, I do go and sit here and it's like, hey, just make sure you keep a good eye on that soldier. Don't tell them what we talked about. Just say, just make sure you keep an eye on them. That's something that I try to do, because I know one time I did have somebody who had suicidal thoughts, and I thought they were good. We talked about it, and then a few weeks later, I got a call saying they was in the hospital because they tried to commit suicide. So I know that's something I do make sure I let, whoever the NCO or OIC is, like, hey, so make sure you keep an eye on them, make sure they're good. And I also make the extra step to make sure I check on them myself personally. That is all I have. I hope you guys really enjoy my informative speech about suicide prevention, and knowing that it is real and it's really something that is very big, is in the Army, and that's something that we are really trying to cut down and reduce on.